You know that feeling, right? Like pretty much everyone gets it now. You're just lost in your screens, phone, computer, maybe multiple monitors, and then you finally look up and bam, your eyes feel like sandpaper. That really intense, gritty, burning feeling that just tanks your afternoon
Of
focus.
Absolutely, and our sources, they kick right off by acknowledging that. It's pretty universal, that kind of eye strain.
Hmm.
Most people, their first instinct is temporary fixes,
Right.
grabbing eye drops. But those really just, well, they mask the problem, don't they?
Exactly, which is why we're doing this deep dive.
Yeah.
You sent over a bunch of research asking for some clarity. Like, are these heated eye masks just another wellness fad? Or is there something genuinely therapeutic going on here? A real long term solution, maybe? We really want to know if this gets you past just temporary relief, into something more consistent.
Right. So our mission today is to break it all down. We'll look at the science, what little there is, the different kinds of masks out there, and crucially, the safety stuff, because there are definitely rules you need to follow.
Mm.
But what keeps popping up in this research is this idea that daily heat, along with good sleep, isn't just a quick patch. It's framed as uh, potentially a core part of a better long-term strategy for managing that chronic eye strain.
Okay, let's dig right into that then. If it's not just like eye drops, what are these masks actually doing? Physiologically speaking, I mean. For someone just dealing with that screen fatigue, that gritty, blurry vision late in the day, that feeling where you just know your tear quality has tanked.
Yeah, that drop in tear quality, that's
Yeah.
absolutely key. See, when you apply heat around the eyes, you're directly targeting these tiny little oil glands. They're called meibomian glands, right along your eyelid rims. And they produce this oily layer for your tear film. It's what stops your tears just evaporating straight away.
Ah, okay. So if that oil gets blocked or too thick, your tears basically just vanish.
Pretty much, yes. If the oil gets thick and clogs the glands, your tear quality plummets. And that leads to, well, a lot of discomfort, dryness, irritation. The heat therapy basically softens or melts those blockages. Think of it like a targeted warm compress. It helps your natural tear system work better.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. So once that mechanism is working properly, what are the other benefits? The sources listed quite a few, didn't they? Is it just about relieving dryness, or is there more to it?
Oh, it's definitely more comprehensive. Improving the tear quality, that immediately helps soothe general eye strain, eases that fatigue feeling. And what's interesting is how that relief sort of kicks off a positive cycle. So second, that forced 15 minutes or so in darkness with warmth, it really promotes relaxation. It can turn something functional into like a calming ritual before sleep.
Wait, you mentioned improved sleep quality. Is that just because people feel better? Or are the sources suggesting the mask itself has some kind of, I don't know, hypnotic effect? Or maybe it's just making people put down their phones for 15 minutes?
Huh. Well, there's probably a mix of things. The research does suggest the physical soothing effects combined with that forced break from screens. That ritual itself, yeah, it seems to help significantly with winding down. And a lot of users do report sleeping better overall.
That's pretty compelling. But okay, there was another claim I saw, something more aesthetic about dark circles. I have to say, I'm a bit skeptical about that one. Can melting some oil blockages really get rid of my dark circles?
Right, that's an important point, and we need to be clear about the nuance there. Heat definitely improves blood circulation. So if your dark circles are mainly down to poor circulation or fatigue, the kind that makes the blood vessels under your eyes more prominent, then maybe you'll see a slight improvement. A little lightening, perhaps. But the general consensus seems to be if those circles are genetic or they're related to pigment in your skin, heat therapy isn't likely to make much difference there. It helps the fatigue aspect, not the underlying genetics or pigment.
Okay, good to set realistic expectations. Thanks. Now let's talk practicalities. If you decide, okay, I want to try this, make it part of my routine, what are the options? The sources seem to break it down into two main types, right? The sort of high-tech reusable one and then the disposable kind.
Exactly. And the choice really boils down to what you prioritize. Is it convenience? Or is it about getting the most intensive relief, maybe with extra features?
Mm.
They serve quite different purposes.
Let's start with the fancy one then. The heated massage eye mask. That's the high-tech option, the one that sounds like it does more.
That's right. These ones combine the heat therapy, which is core, with a gentle air pressure massage, often designed to hit certain acupressure points around the eyes. They're built for daily use, reusable, generally quite durable.
Yeah.
And yeah, they often have bonus features. Some have built-in white noise or Bluetooth, so you can listen to music or a podcast while you relax.
They sound quite luxurious, I have to admit, but I always wonder about the practical side. I remember reading some user feedback, someone saying the electric mask was great, but fumbling with the cord trying to plug it in when you're half asleep was not exactly relaxing.
Huh. Yeah, that definitely highlights a potential downside. The logistics, wired models can feel a bit restrictive,
Yeah.
tethered. But actually, more importantly, there's a really strong warning in the research here. You absolutely should not sleep in the electric or battery-powered ones. There's a risk, however small, of overheating or short-circuiting. These are strictly for a defined, timed relaxation session, not for dozing off in.
Right, that's a crucial distinction. Don't sleep in the electric kind. Which leads us nicely to the other main type, the disposable steam eye mask. These are the convenience kings, partly because they are safer for longer use, potentially even overnight.
They were definitely the ultimate for convenience, yeah. They're single use, they heat themselves up chemically, producing this gentle steam. Big advantages. Super travel friendly, perfect for planes, hotels, whatever. They're hygienic, obviously being single use. And yes, because there's no electricity involved, just that chemical reaction, they're generally considered safe to fall asleep in.
I had to confess, I've sometimes wondered if the disposable ones are a bit gimmicky. Like, do they actually get warm enough to do the job? Did the sources confirm they provide real therapeutic heat?
Yes, they did seem to confirm the therapeutic effectiveness. And actually, that steam aspect, some people find moist heat even more comfortable and effective for loosening up those oils. The big drawback, though, is the one you touched on earlier. It's the cost adding up over time and the environmental impact, constantly throwing things away. That's a really important calculation for you, the listener, to make.
It really is. A big factor in choosing which kind of ritual fits your life and values. Okay, let's shift to usage guidelines. Whichever mask you go for, safety has to come first. We mentioned the big warning about sleeping in electric ones, but let's really underline the crucial restrictions who absolutely should avoid these.
Yes, you really cannot gloss over these warnings. While they're generally safe if used correctly, anyone with a history of significant eye problems needs to steer clear. Unless, this is key, unless their doctor has given them specific, tailored approval. We're talking about people who've had recent eye surgery, for example, or anyone diagnosed with retinal conditions, cataracts, glaucoma, serious issues like that.
Did the research explain why heat is a problem for something like glaucoma specifically?
It's a very specific medical reason. We'll touch on eye pressure again in a moment, but basically, any pre-existing significant damage or even just a weakness in the eye structure means adding heat could potentially make things worse. Or it might interfere with treatments they're already on. It's just not something to experiment with on your own.
Understood. Very clear. So for people who are generally okay to use them, what about the practicalities? How often and for how long? What did the sources recommend for getting the benefits without causing problems?
Yeah, there's a definite sweet spot. Recommended use is generally 1 to 2 times a day,
Mm-hmm.
and the duration's pretty firm, 10 to 15 minutes, maybe stretching to 20 minutes max. The research suggests going longer might actually cause discomfort. You could
Yeah.
potentially irritate the delicate skin around your eyes, or maybe even dry the surface out a bit if you overdo it after the oils have softened. So sticking to that time limit is really key for making it work well long term.
And thinking about those disposable ones being great for travel, any snags there? Anything to watch out for when packing?
The disposable steam ones, absolutely no problem on flights. Easy peasy, that's why they're so popular for flying. But if you choose one of the rechargeable or plug-in types, the high-tech ones,
Mm-hmm.
you just need to remember the usual airline rules about lithium batteries. Always worth checking your specific airline's policy on whether they go in checked bags or carry-on.
Right. Good practical tip. Okay, let's really nail down the limitations now. Heat therapy sounds great for dryness, for relaxation, but we need to manage expectations. Let's address that cure-all thinking head on. What can these masks simply not fix?
Yes, this is where we ground things firmly in reality. First off, and this came through very strongly, high eye pressure. These masks help you relax, they help your tears, yes, but they absolutely do not lower high intraocular pressure. That is a critical distinction we have to repeat. Anyone with glaucoma must follow their doctor's advice strictly. You cannot swap heat masks for prescribed medical treatment, period.
Was that unanimous in the sources, though? Did any suggest maybe a tiny side benefit to pressure from just general relaxation, or is it a complete non-starter medically?
It's really a non-starter for treating the pressure itself. Sure,
Yep.
feeling relaxed might lower your overall body tension, maybe blood pressure slightly, but the research shows basically zero measurable impact on the actual pressure inside the eye. So relying on a mask for that purpose, medically, that would be irresponsible.
It's extremely important context. Okay.
Sure.
What about just getting older, specifically presbyopia, that age-related farsightedness. Can doing this mask ritual help slow that down?
No, sadly not.
Huh.
The consensus is pretty clear. Heat therapy can't slow or reverse presbyopia. That condition is about the lens inside your eye hardening as you age. It's just a natural process. Now, keeping your eyes generally comfortable and less strained with masks might make you feel better overall, but it won't change that underlying structural change that causes farsightedness.
Okay, so wrapping this all up for the listener, if we pull together everything we've looked at, how they work, the risks, the different types, what's the bottom line?
I think the main takeaway is that using a heated eye mask consistently and for the right amount of time, it seems to provide genuine, noticeable relief for a lot of people, especially those staring at screens all day. Relief from that tension, dryness, fatigue. So it can be a really effective daily self-care ritual. But, and this is important, you have to see it as maintenance, maybe comfort, not a cure for underlying medical eye conditions.
And connecting that back to the choices. The sources really highlight an interesting trade-off, don't they? You've got these high-tech reusable masks,
Yeah.
intensive relief, good value long-term, maybe, but they come with that safety warning, don't fall asleep wearing them, versus the disposable steam masks. Super convenient, hygienic, safe to sleep in.
But they raise that bigger question, don't they? We're all looking for ways to cope, for daily self-care rituals in this visually demanding world. But how do you weigh the benefit of that easy, immediate relief against the ongoing cost, both financially and environmentally, of the disposable option? It really comes down to that balance, long-term sustainability versus the price of instant comfort. Definitely something to think about next time you're ready to power down and give your eyes a break.